Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a while since I've been live, so looking forward to the open dialogue with everyone. And again, as always, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys coming on today and just spending some time with us, right? You could be anywhere, but you chose to be here. Today's conversation, how to win contracts with zero experience. Again, I want to share in on some of the stories and experiences that I've had happened to me over the last 2 months. Like I said, I haven't been on here in a while, and it's been a few months since I've been on, but I have been traveling the globe and had some experiences that I want to extend over to those of you who are watching from home. So thank you for joining us and look forward to talking about it. And interesting enough, and my ventures that I've gained over the last few months, there was a story that came up that I wanted to talk about today, and it was Oprah Winfrey and her famous dinner parties. So I thought this would be appropriate subject to bring up today because of the fact that some of us out here may have heard of Oprah's famous dinner parties. And so I wanted to connect that directly in correlation to how you, as a person that is just getting started and looking to grow and scale in this particular business, how you can apply some of the same techniques that Oprah did in having her dinner parties to your business. And so that's the subject we're going to talk about today. And so we're looking forward to all of you out there. Welcome to those who are new to our channel. My name is Eric Coffie. I'm the host of the GovCon Giants podcast. For those of you who may have never heard of me, so we interview top small businesses, federal government agencies, looking at ways in which we can connect folks to decision makers to help them grow, scale, and build their businesses in the world of government contracting. I have now recently started doing a lot of speaking events. So you'll see me out there in the trails somewhere in a city near you. But again, the topic of the conversation that we're having today is how do we translate what Oprah has done and the success of her business into the success of our business. So as always, if you're new to our channel, I'd like to know who's out there today. I see 26 people on right now. So if you could just put your name in the chat, that'd be great. And that way we can know who's out here and we know who we have on the screen. Let us know who you are, what you do, tell me the name of your business or the city where you're from. All right. And yes, this is a GovCon Giant shirt, Master Fear, Conquer Life. So let's talk about it for those of you guys who may be aware. And so Oprah is known for hosting these famous dinner parties. Now, what I found fascinating about this was that when I was listening to a actual TikTok, and yes, I do listen to TikTok, and I was listening to this TikTok and it was talking about Oprah becoming a billionaire. And it's funny because when we sit down and we look at Oprah and we think about all the things that she does, right? I mean, she wasn't an engineer. She wasn't an actual construction worker. She wasn't in sales. She wasn't, right. What did she do? She interviewed people and she had a show where she talked to them about their stories and their personal lives and she featured them. But the thing that was interesting about this TikTok, what it said was that how she started to connect the dots was by hosting people in her famous parties. And so I found this particular article where it goes back and it says back in the 90s, Shania Twain recounts a dinner party with Oprah where they turn awkward talking about the subject of religion. And so I find it fascinating that if you go back to the 90s, she was doing these dinner parties. And then even when you go back to like the 2000s, she held something called the Oprah Winfrey Legends Ball, where she honored 25 African-American women, art, entertainment, civil rights. And again, if you look at the list, I mean, it's, Maya Angelou's at the top. So that should tell you Dionne Warwick and other like Cecilia Tyson. So you get the drift. So for me, when I look at those things and I look at, what she did and how she connected her network, I try to think about what is it that we can do as individuals ourselves to grow our networks, because what I found is that all of the people that I know of who at the highest levels in this space have these huge networks. And what I'm seeing, even from some of my successful friends, and we'll talk about that today, is that they continue to harness, to build, and to develop their networks. And what I see from some of the other people that are lacking, that don't have some of the success that some of the friends, the people that I know have, is that they are lacking in the strengths of their network. So what I did was I turned over to my famous guy, Chat, and I said to Chat, hey, Chat, how can we build a network locally without spending money and be effective with the right strategies? Okay. And it gave me some ideas. And so I want to talk about some of those ideas and also how I've been able to leverage that for my own growth. So recently, on one of my trips, I actually just came back from Rhode Island last week. And in Rhode Island, let me pull up some pictures so I can show you guys. I'll show you how this comes full force. I'm sorry, full circle. Let me go through. By the way, if you're just joining us, let us know who you are. Tell us what you do in the city that you're from. And then if you have questions, just drop it in the chat. That'd be great. So last week, that's me. And you can see behind us, Brocco Oil. So that's me last week. And I went to Rhode Island, and it was a last minute trip. And I went to connect these two gentlemen, the guy in the glasses, Bobby, and the guy in the blue, Joe. And the purpose of my trip and how I got to that trip was because, so Bobby, and by the way, you can go back and listen to this episode. I interviewed Bobby on my podcast 4 years ago. And then I'm going back around and I'm doing a second round of interviews with some of my older guests. So I interviewed Bobby and I sent him an email. I say, hey, we want to get you back on the show again. So we meet to do the podcast like 2 weeks ago. When we're doing the podcast, he says to me, hey, Eric, I've been really building out my business with train lines coming through on my facility. We're bringing in diesel fuel, biodiesel. And so I have access to be able to bring in actual trains on his facility, offload environmental remediation and things like that. Well, the long and short of it is that this gentleman in the blue shirt, him and I were already working together on some contracts up in Maine. Bobby's in Massachusetts. So we had just recently won this month, an IDIQ for $5 million. So now we've got this IDIQ for $5 million in Maine, and I'm on a call with this gentleman, Bobby, discussing, right? He's got access to trains and stuff, and he's about 20 minutes outside of Maine. So he says to me, Eric, hey, listen, if you can help me get connected to this facility, then we've got access to be able to beat the current suppliers. So when I reach out to my consulting client there and I let him know that, he immediately says, jump on a plane, come up here, and let's connect everybody together. And so that's what we did. So I hopped on a plane, flew up to Rhode Island. And so if you guys saw some of my images where I was in Rhode Island last week, that's what I was doing. So I was putting these two together to discuss how we can do a deal. So I ended up in Rhode Island within a week's notice. Now, what happened is that one person had one skill set and another person had the other thing that was missing. And so had it not been for me connecting with Bobby on this call, I would not have been able to put that deal together for those two people. And so what I've seen happening more often than not is that, and I'll show you here with my buddy Travis, is that when you are out and about and you are talking about what you do actively, then magic starts to happen for you. And what I see is that if I were to ask people on here, there's 43 people on the call, right? How many new and different people have you connected with this week? I suspect that I can tell you based on your level of success how few people you've spoken to. And I can say based on level of success, if it's high, how many different people that you've spoken to. So think that part of what we have not been equating is the number of new people that we've spoken to, engaged with this week, to the success that we want to have, to our goals that we want to have. And so it's interesting because it's funny. It takes me, it takes me a long time to try to connect these dots. But then once I connect them, then I can come back and I can convey a theory to people that I think that they can understand. And so if we look at it and we stop equating our success to how many things we bid, right, and how much knowledge we have, as opposed to equating it to how many very different types of people that we've connected to that are related to where we're trying to go, then I think we will be able to easily measure if we're making progress or not. Does that make sense? So I think that what we have to do is start saying, okay, how do I start getting myself connected to more people? So that's why I pull up ChatGPT, because when you start to connect with more people, then magic starts to happen. So let's talk about, for example, the first thing on Chat's list says attend a community event, all right? Festivals, fairs, public gatherings. So I'll show you another example. So recently, how many people, I don't know if you guys saw, but recently we did here, I'll show you right now. So this week we did a 5K race walk, and we hosted it here in South Florida. It was $25 to attend. And so we put this together, and that's our team. That's Michelle, Erica, Maria, myself. This gentleman showed up from Jacksonville. He drove about 6 hours to be here. The guy here, he came in from DC, right? And so it was just a walk. It was a 5K walk, which is about 3 miles. Walk, run. Most people walked it. But if you were here, which cost $25 to be here, you would have this guy in white connected. Does anybody know who that guy is? And with the shirt says Vallejo Networks with the glasses. That's one of my podcast guests, Travis Mack, who just did a $100 million acquisition. So if you had been there on this walk, you could have connected with him and had a chance to talk to him about subcontract opportunities with his company. Let's say he does a lot of cybersecurity, penetration testing, things like that. So when we look at, like I said, the first thing on here, attending a community event, it's something that costs us no money, that we could easily do, right? But has drastic impacts on our business. Does that make sense to people? One of the things that I've been talking to my son about, Brandon, and it's interesting, I also brought this up to Maria, was that we are having our conference coming up November 14th and 15th down in Miami. And I said to her, I said, now where I live and Brandon lives, I live in Delray, Brandon lives in Boca, lots of wealthy, rich people here. And I said to him, if you join the Chamber of Commerce, right, which is like $200-300, and then by the way, anybody could join any Chamber of Commerce they want. You don't have to join a Chamber of Commerce where you live. Hint, hint. If you join a Chamber of Commerce here in Boca, and one, he's going to be the only young kid. Two, he's going to be primarily the only minority person, likely. Definitely the only person that's dark skinned. But when you go to the event and you tell people that you are doing, supporting veterans, women, and other disenfranchised community people, when you say stuff like that, and you say, "Hey, we're doing an event, we're creating training programs and stuff to support these disenfranchised group, that group of people respond very well to this. Now, if you were to take that and go to another area, right, and say the same thing, people might just like throw you out. So what I'm saying is that we are choosing, right, electing to go where we feel comfortable, to go where it's close in proximity, not to go where people that we want to do business with, people that we want to work with are. And so that is a personal choice. So now let's go back and talk about how does that relate. So for me, when we look at, for example, my friend Patrick is a buddy of mine, and he actually, what's up, Robert? He's a buddy of mine. And so Patrick went to a school event with his kids. He's got young kids, and they go to a private school, and he saw a gentleman that was dressed up. And so he said, he talked to the gentleman. He was dressed up at a school event. He was the only person like really dressed nice. He went up to him and asked him what he does. Turns out that the guy said, hey, I work in logistics. Great. What company? He said Crowley. Cool. But he worked at Crowley, the international group, out of he just came from Spain or Europe, somewhere along that over there. And so Patrick approached the guy. He said, oh, that's interesting. I'm a government consultant. So he goes, great. And so now he's saying, okay, they hit it off. Your kids go to the same school. And he goes, if you need anything, let me know. So a few weeks later, the guy reaches back out to Patrick and says, hey, we've got this situation coming up where we are going to need someone to help us put together this training plan. Oh, Patrick says, okay, great. Yep, looking forward to it. And so next thing you know, that proposal, which was not bid, okay, the guy asked him for it. He sent it in, and he got essentially direct contract. I say sole source, but it's not sole source. But yes, he basically negotiated a contract to support Crowley on some training based on meeting the guy at his son's school. And it, from the time he met him to the time he got the contract, it was less than a month. No, I'm sorry. It was less than a month that he met them. By the time they signed it, it was like 2 months later. So what I'm saying is that for all of you guys out here that are trying to figure out, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? How about let's figure out who can I meet? Who can I meet? Who can I meet? And since T. Shelley just brought up the challenge, we'll go ahead and I'll talk about the challenge today because, like I said, we're getting ready to start our next challenge. And so if you go to firstpartnerchallenge.com, Maria, drop it in the link. We are doing our first partner challenge again. We just did it back in April. We had a big success in April. So we're doing it again. And the idea behind the first partner challenge is, how do you find strategic partners to help you grow your business, right? How do you find those companies that have past performance, that have finances, that have all the things that you need resources wise to be able to grow and scale your business? Now, for some of you, that might mean that you support them as a consultant. For others, it might mean that you partner with them as a teaming partner to grow and scale the business. So in the 5-day challenge that T. Shelley just brought up, what we were able to do was we were able to help people identify, right, okay, where are some sources to go to start meeting some of these people, what to say to those people, what agreements to sign with them, and then how to take them to the government to start pitching them so that you could translate that into contracts. For me, the biggest part of doing government contracting now is not just the fact that we're going to teach you the lingo, the language, what to say, how to say it, but I firmly believe that to really build a sizable business that's scalable, that you can sell, that you can bring investors and partners in, you've got to work with companies that are substantial in size. And when I say substantial, meaning that they're $2 million to $5 million at minimum, it's those kind of companies that are going to allow you to build a sustainable business that pays you and pays your family, right? And so it kind of just essentially, I don't want to say print money, that's a loose term, but ultimately, yeah, it prints money because you've got a staff, you've got team, and you start duplicating the efforts. A lot of people don't want to do that because they feel more comfortable working as a solopreneur, working as a 1099er, and so they don't want to step out their comfort zone. But the reality is, there's people out here that are needing your help, that need you to be able to guide them. And more each day, I believe that the gap between the people who understand government contracting, who know how to do it well, and the companies that are doing it, I think that that gap continues to grow. And so the idea for me is, if I can help teach you guys what to say, who to talk to, where to look, then you can help these companies become more successful. The reason why I get the opportunity to be able to do the kind of things that I do is because the people that I work with, their kids, their family, they can't help them. Their spouses can't help them. Nobody in their inner circles can help them. So these are the kind of companies that we want to talk to, because why? When you come along and you show them that you can help them, guess what's going to happen? They're going to want to work with you, partner with you, team with you. And we have some stories of people that I know of that the person actually sold them the business. Yeah. So that's another topic for another conversation, but they actually went ahead and sold them the company, the business. So let's talk about, right, again, let's go back down the list, and I'll show you what I'm doing, because when people wonder how am I able to do the things that I'm doing, is you don't see me. I'm at the conferences, I'm on calls, I'm in meetings with people. I probably meet, I don't know, I want to say 12 to 15 people, new people every week, right? But then when I go to conferences, I'm probably meeting 40 people a day at a conference, new people that I don't know, strangers. So with that amount of people, that sheer volume of people, how can I not find someone that can help me grow, scale, partner, team, finance, give me a letter of credit, connect me to a banker, connect me to an accountant? Does that make sense? I don't see any comments in the chat, but I just want this to connect the dots for people. We cannot sit back and say that doing any of these activities is relegated to just people with resources and money or with experience. Everyone here has been to a social event that was invited by a friend, or you've hosted an event, right? But a lot of times what I see that we're doing is we're not being intentional about the thing. So we are attending baby showers, or we're attending, like we used to attend Tupperware parties or trunk parties, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Trunk shows. We like all that kind of stuff that's not related to the business. What if you took those same concepts and applied it to this industry? So, for example, I've had people said, Eric, if you have the ability, and I'll throw this out there, we'll see who takes me up on it. If you have the ability to get together a group of 40, 50 people, and you want me to speak, right, then reach out to me, right? And so now you could say, hey, I can get this guy to come talk about government contracts. And then that could be a reason where you can invite people to an event, right? Just thinking about creative ways to do some of this stuff. Going back to our list, volunteer at activities. We tell you all the time, Maria is infamous for this. Maria is infamous. Every conference, Maria volunteers. And you know what she does? When she volunteers, she meets the people that organize the conference. She meets the decision makers for the conference, and she connects the dots with the people who we need. So I'll give you another story. So Maria was trying to reach this lady for my podcast. Okay. And so the lady, I'll show you right now. It's funny because you guys, let me pull it up. Oh, hold on. So I did this podcast. I can't find it right now. Hold on. I'm trying to pull it up. So Maria was working on trying to get this lady for a podcast, right? And so Maria, Angie Martinez, Maria, by the way. And so Maria was having a hard time getting the this person, and then she ended up volunteering at an event and was able to connect with this woman. So now Maria connects with her. She reaches out to her. She jumps on our podcast. We do an interview. From that interview, by the way, she's on the screen, Angie Martinez, Martinez Construction. This is her company. Listen to that episode. So from that interview, I learned about her business. I connect her with someone who's looking for a 8A company with bonding capacity. We have the conversation. I make an introduction, and we partner her up with a large business who's looking for a small business partner. And then the next thing you know, they are bidding on a $20+ million contract together. All thanks to Maria volunteering at an event. Is anybody connecting the dots here? So again, I want to keep giving you guys real life practical examples, because I think a lot of times we believe that the only way to do this is by bidding contracts, being an expert, having all the capital, having all the know-how, right? And not actually just starting with meeting people, talking about what you do, figuring out what they do, figuring out the issues, how to solve their problems. I think we need to get away from being robots and become more human. I think that is the theme for tonight's conversation, right? Is stop being robots and being humans. Start connecting with people in meaningful ways, finding out, and again, specifically towards the things that you're trying to do, because all of us are lonely. All of us want community. All of us want to be part of a tribe. All of us have inner fears. All of us have self-doubt. All of us have imposter syndrome. You're not the only one. All of us are trying to figure it out. Just because someone is successful in business doesn't mean they're successful personally. Just because they have, we don't have this thing figured out called life. And I think that a lot of times what I've learned from just my internal team is that their self-doubt, their insecurities, right? When I am connecting them with people who have more like financial success, you don't connect with them financially. So that's not where you go with the conversation. You connect with them emotionally. You connect with them spiritually. You connect with them on a level that relates in another human side of their aspect of life that's maybe not being fulfilled as greatly as the financial reward. Does that make sense? And I think that, to be honest with you, Oprah did an amazing job of that through her parties, because she made the different sets of people feel welcome, feel invited, feel community. And when I heard her speak, she said that we all have the same sense of longing, community, having people believe in us, having people, right? Like having someone to care for, feeling we are needed or cared for. Like we all have those basic needs. And so often we talk about just the aspects of, right, the monetary aspects, the what can you do for me aspects of it. And a lot of people out here, I find that I don't even know what they do because I'm not trying to be transactional with them. And when we stop being transactional, then you get a lot more accomplished. You get a lot further, and you get a lot more. People can see the sincerity and that you're genuine, and they want to help you and work with you even more. Make sense? I see Robert's the only one responding out here. So for me, when I look at it, we talk about what is it that everyone's doing. We recently did this event, and so I'm here, and on the stage here, I spoke at this event. Right? You've got a $500 million company, a $100 million company, a $60 million company, and another $80 million company. And then you have someone who runs as chairman of a $2 billion company, and then another person who connects all those people together. So when you look at and you say, how is it that I'm able to be able to win contracts of substantial size? Right? How am I able to be able to call these people up, talk to them? It's because of this, right? It's because of this right here. It's because I'm spending time with the people. I tell this to my team. I spend a lot of time with people. When I go to conferences, sometimes I spend an hour. I try to go to every dinner, every lunch, every reception, the VIP reception, the after reception, the morning yoga, the morning walk, and then I do the session. Like, I do all of that. I do all that stuff. What are you guys doing? And I'm not knocking nobody. I'm just saying, like, what are you doing, right? And you're wondering, like, why am I not connecting the dots? Are you here? So I'm going to tell you. So at this event, this gentleman was here. His name is Keith. And so Keith actually is handicapped. He walks with a crutch. He has a little chair that rides around. But Keith is a lot of fun. So I seen Keith in Vegas, and then I seen Keith at Virginia Vape. And Keith's always dancing and he's drinking and we're talking. And so I said, Keith, one morning I'm up and he's having breakfast and I sit down and talk with him. And I'm like, Keith, what is it that you do? And Keith says, I write grants. I said, really? He goes, yeah, but I write grants for cities, municipalities, governments. I go, wow. So he actually writes grants for, if you have a local municipality that can't afford in-house grant writers, they hire Keith's company to actually write grants for them. I didn't know. So, but we've been hanging out at these different events for I don't know, the last 3 or 4 events I went at, I've run into him. We have a good conversation. And so finally we sit down, we talk. And I asked Keith and I asked his partner, and I said, how do you guys get business? He says, oh, we just hang around events and people keep coming up and talking to us. And at some point, we'll talk about what it is that we do. And that's how we get clients. He says, at some point, we'll talk about what we do. He never brought up what he did to me. And I've seen this guy at least 3 times. He never brought it up. So I know that people want to push you towards, right? Getting, business cards, getting websites, like all the other stuff that I think I don't really care about personally. I want to push you to connecting with more people, right? Talking about what you do, having a clear focus on your goals and where you're headed, being able to articulate that, right? And even if you're unsure, right? If you're like, Eric, I don't know if I want to sell products, I want to be a consultant, I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. But when you talk to people, you got to have something like straight, like one message to say. But At the same time, if you talk about things that's not related to contracting, like for example, Randy, Randy's a great example. Randy homeschools her kids. Well, they graduate now. Randy homeschooled her kids. And so I always said, Randy, when you're talking to people, talk about homeschooling your kids. That is a fascinating conversation. Ooh, I homeschool my kids. Okay, cool. Like, people want to know about that. Tell me more. So people say, oh, Randy, tell me about homeschooling your kids. And we actually had a gentleman who was a government of small business specialist person who, when we told him that Randy homeschools his kids, his wife was thinking about homeschooling her kids. He picked up the phone, called his wife on her cell phone, said, honey, I've got a lady here who homeschooled her kids for the last blah, blah, blah years. Can you talk to her? And so Randy was able to basically talk to this guy's wife about homeschooling the kids. I just met with one of my podcast guests maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago who did $4 billion in contracts, and he knows Randy. And I said, have you ever talked to Randy about homeschooling kids? He's like, no, I haven't. I said, you know that she did that? He's like, no. Also, Randy has a farm where she raises cows. So this guy told me he had a farm and he had recently got into farming. I said, did you ever speak to Randy? Because Randy grows her own cow and she actually has it slaughtered. And then she has the meat like cut up and packaged. And so she knows what's in the cow because she raised the cow and she fed it and she had it slaughtered. And she's been doing that for years. So she knows what's exactly in the meat that her family eats. How many people are doing something unique, fascinating, whether it's an instrument, another language, that you can share with folks that's not related to government contracting? We don't think about that. We think about our deficiencies, not our proficiencies. So we're quick to go to, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have that. But what is it that the things that you do have that make you special? Maybe you're, I don't know, you're a polymath. Maybe you are a pianist. I don't know. I met someone who, one of my large business partners that looks for small business companies, and the girl, she grew up. Her parents, like they raised them like the China moms. So she grew up like playing like 5 instruments. So she could be her own band and just rotate instruments. So what is it that you have skills that you could talk about that's not related specifically to government contracts? And yes, Jackie, Maslow's hierarchy. Because if you can start meeting and attending and meeting more people more often, being intentional about the people you meet, conveying your message, then it's going to help make it a lot easier for you that once you learn how to do government contracting, and we're going to teach you that. Like, look, we teach you government contracts. That's not a thing, right? We teach you government contracts. So you don't have to worry about learning government contracts. The problem that people have is not that they don't understand government contracts. The problem that they have is that you may run into a situation where you don't have a teaming partner, you don't have a finance partner, you don't have a bonding partner, you don't have a whatever XYZ you put in the gap partner, a cybersecurity partner, a CompTIA partner, a JCP partner. Like, you don't have that partner to complete the transaction. So for me, we're saying, okay, like, let's start talking to people now before you get registered in SAM, right? Before you decide to get your certification. Let's talk to people today, right? At these different places. And again, you could do this in your local area. Like I said, I just went to chat and typed it in, right? Let's start figuring out how can you do some of this stuff so you can increase your odds of winning, right? Because by doing these activities, you're going to increase your odds of winning. It is a big commitment. It's a big commitment. I spend a lot of time talking to people. My buddy Travis does the same thing. But the results, right, are, and again, I was in Hawaii. And so, again, look, and I'll pull it up. I was at this conference in Hawaii. And so, again, I'm meeting. You know what happened to me this past week? Somebody from one of those Hawaii events reached out to me and said, "Hey, Eric, can you help me out with contracts?" I met you in Hawaii. Cool. I spoke at Hawaii. I was in this event here in North Carolina. This is Sue Cranes. She organized the event. So again, I met the organizer, right? Some of the people from the challenge were here. They came out and supported. So again, it's always, and it's not just me. My buddy Travis Mack, I was in here. I'll show you guys. I want to show you this because I would like for you to leave today this call, and I would like for you guys to commit to being more active out there. This was an event Travis Mack held. And so he held this event that he hosted, Travis Mack, my podcast guest at $100 million, that he calls Make It Make Sense. And he hosts it once a year, and he invites out Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. And it was originally called the Melanin Network. And so basically he said, I want to start connecting people in South Florida together. So he started hosting his event and connecting professionals together. And he started inviting professionals one by one. This was Erica, Michelle. They were there. And then Travis's girl, Tyler, she was there. And so again, I left that event. I was at this event at the port, right? And so here I am at the port talking to other people. But we are tomorrow evening. I'll be at another event with a friend of mine. So at the end of the day, right? How many people are you talking to, right, on a weekly basis about this? How many people are you meeting that are new people, right? Are you being intentional about putting yourself out there to meet people in the space, right? Regardless of who they are, where they're at, it doesn't matter because we all have people that we know that are in different levels financially, but that doesn't make them not connected to other folks. So my message for everyone today is to be intentional about putting yourself out there, make a commitment this year, this month, about attending more events next in June and July. See if you can connect with 10 new people, 15 new people, 25 new people. And then you will start to see doors start to open for you. So that's my commitment to everyone. That's what I'd want people to leave with. By the way, I will go over this. We just redid Federal Help Center. If you're not familiar with Federal Help Center, this is the place where you see we got 2,600 members here now. It's free to join. We're doing webinars every single week. In fact, this is our schedule coming up tomorrow, 7:30, Thursday, May 3rd. So we're teaching how to do business with NASA. If you're not already in Federal Help Center, join it. It's interesting. Low Life Bree said you want to talk about contract consulting. We've got our first partner challenge coming up. So if you've not already done the first partner challenge, we do have the first partner challenge. It starts June the 10th. Looking forward to introducing you guys. We've got our coaches in place. Last time it was phenomenal. We had a 98 person cohort, and it was good because it wasn't just me teaching. We had our different coaches teaching and talking about their experiences of how they were able to help their clients win contracts. Again, for those of you who are thinking about, right, if you have a business and you want to find large business partners, or if you're confused about what you want to do and you're thinking about consulting, or maybe you have got a job and you're like, okay, Eric, well, I still work at my job. And so for me, I need to kind of do this on the side, then that makes sense for you to join because, right, we don't care about the industry. We only care the fact that you find reputable companies that, and we'll talk through how to do this. We find reputable companies that want our services, that want us to help them, that we can then leverage basically our mouth, like talking, right, to help get contracts. I personally, I don't do hard work anymore. I did it before. It wasn't fun, and I think a lot of times we do businesses because we feel like we have to. Like we talk, like you got to work hard, you got to work hard. But the people that I know at the highest levels, they work hard, but like here in their brain, not physical work, right? They work hard mentally. So if you're down for that and you want to learn how to work hard mentally, right? Because financing stuff, paying the debt, paying, getting it financed, paying it off, risking your own money, that is a lot. That's tough. So it's not for everybody. So this is a different approach to doing that, but also doing it at a high level, because if it doesn't make money, it don't make sense. So I'm not here talking about flipping some $50 products, $100 products. That is not our game, right? We're not the channel for that. My courses are not the courses for that. So for us, we are talking about multi-million-dollar contracts, multi-million-dollar projects that people can start doing. And you don't need experience because we are teaching you how to work with people who have the experience. So that's why you don't need the experience. In fact, having the experience might be to your detriment because you may be doing things the wrong way, or you may do the things that you were trained, but it doesn't apply to how the government does it. So for me, I want to throw that out the window. So I just want to say that. Looking forward to it, June 10th. Any questions anybody has for me? The chat has been really quiet. Any questions anybody has for me today? 64 people watching. Hit the like button. Let me see who's in there. I didn't want to acknowledge it just because, like I said, for me, I want to kind of get through and talk for those who are going to watch this later on. So let's see. Erica from Philly, live in Georgia. Been on 2 contracts, haven't won yet. I'm a registered nurse, like to win some medical contracts. Great. And Erica, I hope we addressed that, right? I think it's really easy for a lot of people to bid contracts because you sit home and you fill out some paperwork and you push the button. So I think that's like the easy button for folks. And that's why, we think like, oh, okay, that's easy. I just turn it a bit. But I find that is short-lived. So if I were you and I want to bid medical contracts, I'd find out, okay, a couple things I would do, Erica. One, I would research the medical contracts that don't have bidders or have one bidder, right? I start there. And instead of just bidding random contracts, I would intentionally look for the ones who have one or, say one or 2 bidders. And those would be the ones I'd focus on. I would find a supplier or someone who is actually doing that and who've done it in the past, and maybe they're not doing it as aggressively now. And then I reach out to them about partnering and see how we could work together on that. And so then I would start reaching out to the government saying that I've got this large partner that's done medical supplies. And then I would take them to the government person. So that's what I would do, Erica, differently than just bid on a contracts and not try to build a relationship or not try to get anybody to know you. I would do the opposite approach. So I would take and find out where the contract's not being bid, find out who are the large companies or that did it in the past, get them to agree to give me their information as reference. And then I would take that to the government. And then now you'd be considered the expert. I know it's kind of fast, but I hope it made sense. What else? Questions? All right. Chris said, as a new business government, my goal is to attend lots of events, connect with folks in person. Chrissy, that's a great goal. And so I think, though, just make sure you're being intentional about the event you're attending. Right. So just make sure you're intentional, because sometimes what I find is that, like, some of the local events, the people there, and again, depending upon your goal, right? If your goal is, and this is a good point, Chrissy. So if your goal is, right, let's say you're looking for a teaming partner or you're looking for like a consultant client, the local events seem to be a good place to go to because the local events have people who are not doing federal that may have heard about it and can't do it. The local events also have good companies who are typically, they may already have like past performance that you're looking for. So the local events are great to find people that are not doing federal contracts. The federal events are good because then you can find people who are doing federal contracts that you can partner with. So I have a different strategy depending upon the event that I attend. Yeah, Robert, you don't have to move to Florida to work with me because I do work up in Maine, Connecticut, Rhode Island. So all you gotta do is just show up where I'm at, and that's it. Evan says the course is incredible. Value is 10 times the cost. Thanks, Elvin. My nephew wants to do it. He's 15. Yeah. Damon Katavi, he started when he was 16 years old. Yeah. Listen, I like 15-year-old. I like kids. They're a sponge. They got a lot of time to learn. If I were you, I would put my 15-year-old in the course. By the way, something that we also did recently. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on. So something that we did recently to find it. So we took so one thing that we did recently, by the way, this may help some people. So our Contract Academy 3.0, we've actually we took that program and we put on a monthly subscription plan. So now if you don't have the $2,000 a year, you can sign up for $249 a month. So we did do that. And in there, you'll receive Federal Contract Academy. We took the 3 sections and now we took it and we changed it. And now we have a different level. So it's comprehensive, essentials, and mastery. But now you could get started for a monthly fee as opposed to the annual price. Now, obviously, it's a big savings if you do annually, but we did do that in a subscription version for people who needed some additional help. So we are trying to find ways to make this easier for people to get started and get involved. So we did do that recently. And I hope that will be able to help some people out who are needing some additional, that they don't necessarily have the whole 2,000 up front. We're trying to make this accessible to folks out here because ideally, we want to get more people into the space. So, all right. What else? Anything else? Anything else? All right. Well, listen, you know where to find me. I hope this was helpful for some folks out there. We look forward to seeing you guys, whether it's in Federal Help Center or in the First Partner Challenge. We look forward to connecting with folks out here. Like I said, we're doing events, we're doing trainings. We're trying to give you resources to help make this as seamless as possible. But again, you have to put in the work. So at the end of the day, no one can do it for you. If you don't go to the events, if you don't connect with the people, if you don't get the business cards. By the way, let me show you something. Hold on. Just for context. Okay. Myself, this is a stack of cards that I have from the last event that I attended. Just for context. And by the way, hold on. This is my drawer of business cards. I didn't even show you guys this. I should have showed you this. Hold on. And I still like old school business cards. Okay, here's a stack of cards. Hold on. Here's a stack of cards. Hold on. Stack. Hold on. Now I got myself out of order trying to show y'all. Hold on. Here's another stack. Put it here so y'all can see. Just in case y'all thought, this is what people do. By the way, the electronic cards are fine. The problem is when you put all these people in your phone, you don't know who they are anymore. Okay. And this is just in my front desk here. All right. So when you talk about how do I have all these connections? How do I have these podcast guests? How do I have this stuff? It's right. This is how. Okay. Everyone that gave me a business card, I talked to these people. I didn't get a business card from a desk. Everyone. I talked to all these people. So when you sit here and you say how lucky I was, how I get all these opportunities, how that I'm able to do all this stuff. This is, again, I'm on YouTube and I'm teaching, but I'm out here doing the same stuff. There you go. There's a stack of cards right there for y'all to see. So all these people I talk to, all these people, look at this. This is, dang, you can't see, it's too bright. But this is Northrop Grumman, Veteran Initiative Program Manager. Pamela Brunson, National Guard Small Business Programs. So if y'all don't have something that looks like this, if you're not doing stuff like this, don't tell me about why, things are not working for you. Because we all need people. We need people, right? It's a people game. It's a people game. So I encourage you, if you see any events on Federal Help Center that I'm going to, make sure you show up. You guys get to see me in action. I'd love for people to see me offline, right? I know some of you, the other people that you guys watch on YouTube, I don't see them at any of the events that I go to, but no shade on nobody. Just that, as you see, I'm speaking at events. I'll be at the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce event. I'll be speaking at that. I'll be speaking at the Hub Zone event in Virginia. So I'll be out here out front talking, speaking, connecting with folks, right? So that's what I'll be doing. What will you guys be doing? That's the question you got to ask yourself, right? What are y'all going to be doing? Sitting back watching, sitting at home, eating apple pie, Netflix and chill. That's cool. I'm going to be out here connecting with more people, talking about, again, look, here we go. There you go. I'm going to leave y'all with that right there. Yes, correct, Kevin. And I got 10 times of that. So when I get put in front of a stage and I get the chance to talk to a couple hundred people, right? What do you think that does for my profile? What do you think? How do you think that elevates me in my profile? Okay. So that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm going. I got another networking event tomorrow evening. I'll be at taking some more pictures, some more people, right? And so again, I'm doing this. So I hope you guys are doing the same thing. All right. You don't have to be Oprah to do it. You could be a regular person, but look, if you say, Eric, I'm not winning and I'm not having success, I'm gonna say, show me your stack of business cards. And if you can't show me, I'm gonna just say, okay, well, I'm not sure what you want me to say. So you're not in front of people, you're not talking to anybody, you're not connecting with anybody, you're not meeting anyone new, and you want success to somehow come to you miraculously or by magic. I'm not really sure how that's gonna happen. So best of luck. Love you guys as always. Thanks for being here. Look forward to seeing you guys on June the 10th, and we'll keep pushing out great content. And as always, like I said, we'll see you guys in the next stream. Thanks.